Good evening and welcome to the Monday, October 13th, 2025 Maplewood City Council meeting. We just had a really dynamic workshop. The council and staff just heard a presentation concerning our 10-year financial management plan, which I think is really going to help the council make really good decisions. So I want to thank staff again for that. But we're looking at some really pretty big things in planning for the city for the next 10 years. And one of the things that strikes me is that, boy, there isn't anything free when we're looking at city budgets and planning and being smart with taxpayer money. But tonight, I'm opening up the council meeting with two free things, because there aren't a whole lot of free things in the world. The first thing that is free, I just want to remind everybody, it's right in the Maplewood Living, that this is free mattress collection month, the whole month of October. If you happen to have a mattress that you don't want anymore, you can call, or you can even go online, and you can get a free mattress pickup. And I learned something new, council members. About 95% of your mattress can be recycled. So there you go, something free for the month of October. And the other free thing is actually an event. We have Trunk or Treat coming up at the end of October, October 25th. From 1 to 4. It's going to be here in the parking lot at Maplewood City Hall, and there will be free candy. And I was thinking, is there anything else that's free? I was thinking maybe the candy might not be free if it results in a lot of dental work. But, you know, just because you get the candy doesn't mean that you necessarily have to eat it all. You can pass it around too. But there you go, two free things in the month of October, which is kind of refreshing after we just had our 10-year financial management plan. So kind of fun and something nice to look forward to in the month of October. And with that, council members, we're going to start with our Pledge of Allegiance and get going with the city business. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Sint, would you do our roll call, please?
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here as well. Thank you very much. Moving on to the approval of the agenda, would someone like to make a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve our agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to the approval of our minutes, we start with the September 18th special meeting. This was our tour, council members. Would someone like to make a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Cave. The motion to approve the September 18th, 2025 City Council special meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have our September 22nd, 2025 City Council workshop meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Moved by Juniman.
Second.
Seconded by Lee. The motion to approve the September 22nd, 2025 City Council workshop meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. One more set of meeting minutes. The September 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by
Second.
Cave. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to administrative presentations. Our council calendar update. Mr. Sable, this is your topic.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just want to forecast, the end of the year is fast approaching. Believe it or not, we are only going to have 4 meetings after tonight. So it's going to be jam-packed and full of lots of things. So anticipating on October 27th, you'll be able to see a development application for Century Ponds. That'll be a continuation of a discussion that has been what feels like a year long, probably at this point. But I want to just note that we've been going through the board and commission process. They have seen the Planning Commission, the CDRB, the ENRC, and we'll see Parks this Wednesday. So we will have had a full suite of board and commission meetings, and so you'll be able to see that on October 27th. We'll also see a continuation of our budget presentations where the fire department will have center stage for October 27th. And then on November 10th, we're anticipating bringing in representatives from the YMCA to talk about their future plans. We've had ongoing conversations about what to do with the community center and the importance of the relationship with the YMCA. And so I thought it would be helpful for them to say firsthand kind of what they're excited and what their plans are going forward. So again, one more piece of information for that. And then for the budget discussion on November 10th, we will see the police department, and then wrapping up with the 24th with the rest of the departments on the meeting on November 24th, the week of Thanksgiving. I won't mention trunk or treat, but you did bring that up, so I appreciate that. Barb Johnson and the police department is very excited to get the word out, and so we expect lots of kids and lots of activity that day. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Councilmember Cave.
Just one question. The Maplewood Community Center, where are we at with a possible questionnaire to go out to see what people think about funding that?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We have had a draft online survey, but we were waiting until we got one more piece of information before we launched it.
Okay.
We wanted to, the University of Minnesota is going to do an analysis of what a sales tax could generate in terms of a total value, and we wanted to wait until we had that piece of information before we sent it out.
Are we going to use that gentleman, I can't remember his name, who did the last survey, the phone call one?
The question is, we're going to use the Morris Leatherman Company to do the survey. It is a budgetary question that I don't know the answer to, because the main survey he does, which is the full broad spectrum, is around $27,000. A single question survey is about half that price, because they still have to do all of the lead-in work going into it. So we get an economy of scale when we add more questions, and so we're just kind of going through what's the right amount versus doing a potentially online engagement or other things. So stay tuned.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We have 9 items. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda item G1 through 9.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman, the motion to approve consent agenda items G1 through 9. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business, the budget presentation. Mr. Sable, you're going to kick this off for us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So this is if you recall from last year, the budget process that we put forward included sort of a different level of detail during the council presentations. And so we wanted to have budget discussions. This year, we're going to replicate that exact model where we're going to be walking through each functional department area to kind of go through to give not only you more information about you need to make a decision, but also to inform the community differently. And so as you heard me say, for more than 50% of the council meetings this year, we've talked about what the budget impact is on the community and the residents. And so we've done different levels of survey data. We've had tables and booths at community events. So we've really tried to have a more robust process. And I think if you read the living articles, you can kind of see the level of detail is there. Tonight, you're going to hear a presentation from what we are combining sort of the administrative, human resources, finance, and communications. Not that these aren't critically important services. However, they are less high touch for the residents. So when we are not in the newspaper, we are doing something extremely well. And so this is maybe the moment to shine for this group that doesn't always get a lot of accolades, but it's really in critical work kind of behind the scenes. And so we'll go through a presentation. One thing I would invite you to do is if there's a piece of information that you were hoping to see, let us know now so we can make future presentations better. So this is sort of a test case of how this can work and then what you would like to see going forward so you can feel confident when we get to December that you have everything you need to make a choice. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mayor and Council. Excited to kick this off. And as Mike said, we don't do a lot of front-facing work. Most of the work that we do in many of these departments is internal. But it's an opportunity for me to kind of highlight the remarkable team that we have. So this is an organizational chart. As Mike said, most of our work is administrative, includes HR, clerk. Joe's going to be talking about finance. So a lot of moving parts and a lot of work that goes into this. I want to thank the council for the work that they did earlier this year on the strategic priorities. This is a big aspect of the work that all of us do. So sustainability, safety, and development, these are the cornerstones to the work that we do. You'll see that in the reports. You'll see that in some of our strategies. And these are really beyond words. They're action items. They're verbs. And so we are, that's why we do the work that we do. In addition to that, there are these three pillars, and I could spend more than 10 minutes talking about this group of people and the exceptional service, the culture that supports and empowers, and strong relationships. So I'll try to speed it up by just hitting some points, but I get to come to work with people who care about the work that they do. In public safety, they talk about service before self. And I'm going to borrow that because this is what this group does. It is a privilege for me to be able to work amongst this team of people. When the city thinks about the face of the city, oftentimes we think of the mayor, the council, city manager. But oftentimes the face of the city is people like Michelle. Somebody that is the first person that somebody's going to come in and see. And so Michelle, in times, is the face of the city. She's answering questions. She's talking to people. She's providing resources. Isla, who does data requests in 10 days or less. This is a Herculean task that she does, and she does it with dignity and respect and efficiency as well. One of the things that I know about Andrea is if you don't have the why, then do not try. And I respect that, and I just made that up, so thank you. But that's what I appreciate about her is she's protecting the brand, but she's also asking for, rather than just willy-nilly things to do, she's asking for purpose and direction. So each of these people exceed these expectations. They provide service before self. And because we are an internal-facing group of people, that could be somebody that we know might be sick, or somebody that is in mourning, or it could be a celebration of such. This is a group that goes above and beyond to meet those needs. Melinda Coleman brought us strengths, and Nancy Steele is now taking that baton and moving it into a different direction with her work. Colin Vu, who's our management analyst, when we first started that process, we had over 50 applicants, and Colin earned that. He earned the position, and he's an emerging leader because of that. That's the group, like I said, that I get to come to work with every day, and I'm extremely proud of the work that they do in safety and HR and city clerk and in meeting the needs of our community. So some of our accomplishments range from cannabis to lease agreements to strength training, like I said, digital filing, all of these kinds of things. This is Colin, who did a lunch and learn. Mike and I were in the back, so he had about 30 plus Public Works employees, and Mike and I in the back. And he did it with conviction and purpose, and a lot of work went into that as well. I want to highlight some of our budget and just talk a little bit about some of the key aspects. So in 2026, we're looking at a 3% wage adjustment that totals roughly $79,000. We did have an addition, data analyst position, which we're sharing with the fire department. That's equates to about $51,000. Election staffing costs for both primary and general election, about $110,000. And then we are holding about $236,000 in support of upcoming negotiations and adjustments as well. So those are some of the budget highlights for the year ahead. Some of the impacts, as I said, the data analyst position, funds that we're holding for negotiations. I just read most of these. But in addition to these types of things, working on these lease agreements with the BCA, Metro INET, and working through the lease with the YMCA is also some of the work that we're doing. I want to highlight, too, the negotiations. We've got 7 unions. We've got about 20-plus employees that are non-labor positions, non-union positions. Our philosophy here in Maplewood is negotiating is relatively easy. You come to a table and you share ideas. We put a lot of effort into getting to know our employees through ride-alongs, through trainings and those kinds of things. That's a cornerstone of the work that we do, and that's part of our negotiations as well, is we want to know the conditions in which all of our employees work with, so that we can not only be competitive wage-wise, but also at the forefront when it comes to safety and training and wellness as well. So looking ahead, we've got a commitment for our relationships. I'm really proud of the work that folks like Steve Love have done with the Ramsey County CERT program, and really ensuring that our contractors, subcontractors, that we're working with small businesses as well, rather than just posting an RFP, that we're going out and working and meeting with small businesses and contractors in that way, continuing to promote the work that we do here in Maplewood by recruiting and those kinds of things. We've had a lot of people apply for a variety of positions, and our work doesn't start at when you're hired. It starts beyond that by providing tools like interview training before these jobs. That's something that we're really proud of as well. And that kind of, whether they get the job in Maplewood or not, they can have a really positive relationship with our community and our staff as well. Election year, we've got the primary and general election, a safety committee that we're going to be doing in-house that's going to be promoting more tabletop exercises and those kinds of things. So extremely excited about the work ahead and couldn't be more proud of the team that we have this year.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Finance's budget is a third of what admin HR, so I'll have to make this really quick. Then I have a third of the time they get. On this first slide, we have the communications helped us do the same thing as what we did last year and provided a receipt of what a medium valued household would be paying per month on their property taxes. So about $142.50 per month for a medium valued home. Of that, finance makes up $3.78. So there's only 5 of us in the department, but we accomplish a lot, pass through 70+ millions of dollars. And that, so there's quite a bit that we still do, but for the low price of $3.78. Our key accomplishments for the last year is the 10-year financial management plan that we discussed earlier today, our GFOA budget award. S&P rated or affirmed our rating for AA+. We produced the EDA financial model, and then the community engagement through the Maplewood Living surveys, the budget website, as well as the events that we started doing this year. So finance makes up 3.57% of the general fund budget. Our key initiatives are financial transparency, long-term planning, debt management and reduction, and capital needs. So this all actually falls quite well in line with the financial management plan that we discussed earlier today, planning out to the future, reducing our debt as council has done over the years, and then making sure that we plan for the future, hopefully. Our department is made up of 5 different individuals: finance director, assistant finance director, and then we have 3 accountants. We all, I wanted to take their picture and put it out there. They like to stay behind the scenes, otherwise people seek them for money. Budget changes for this upcoming year are wage increases, professional services, which is our auditing, takes up the majority of the cost, same with municipal advisors, and then staff development. Other major increases for all of these categories, wages represents the largest increase, reflecting the commitment that council has had to retaining skilled staff. Supplies and materials reflects an investment in work state functionality and improving that. Professional services includes the audit fees, investment tracking software, actuarial services, as well as staff development. And then internal charges is for IT services. Part of the cost, and you'll see this with pretty much all the charts or the departments, the internal charges is about a 22% increase, and that has to do with moving one of the IT people that was 100% dedicated to, or in the PD budget, to the general citywide, so that it's being spread out, that one individual. So that makes up the majority of the cost, as well as increase in software, maintenance of the software, as well as equipment. Looking ahead, we're looking at building out our budget monitoring platform. We have a very basic one right now that the department heads can view. We want to build that out. We would like to look at developing and creating a popular financial report, which would be a 2 to 4 page document that kind of summarizes the city's financial position. And then increasing internal auditing processes just to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and make sure that we continue to do the highest level of review internally before our auditors come. And then upgrading our time entry system, something that we're looking at as part of our current platform, is just building that out and fine tuning it as we go. That's it.
I'm a front and center here. I feel exposed. I'm all out. I don't get to hide behind the podium. No, I'm kidding you. Joe Sheeran, Communications Manager on behalf of City Council. Thanks for having us here tonight. We're a smaller department: communications manager, communications coordinator, digital communications, but we do a whole lot. A lot of what people see, even though we're behind the scenes, a lot of our work is front and center out in the community. I tell our department that, while we can grab a great headline in the Star Tribune or a great headline on KSTP, it's the work that the frontline people do every day that builds that experience. So we're all technically communicators, as most folks may or may not want to admit. Key successes we had this year: translation service. We were really pushed by this council last year to communicate with our people at all levels. Like you could see this particular example we've been giving other departments the tools and resources to get out there and communicate that message. We were able to do this one for parking prohibited. We were able to do one for long grass, and we were able to also do one for parking reminders as we get into the plowing season in multiple languages. So that's a big push. We found a couple of different translation services that we continue to expand and work with, and even some live translation that we helped community development do this year. So we also are been recognized by our peers. We are part of the Minnesota Association of Government Communicators, MAGIC for short. This year we were awarded 2 first-place prizes for video and a second-place prize for video. One of those video series being the How It Works program, where we highlight all of the equipment that keeps Maplewood moving. As you can see from Maplewood Living, we highlighted we've done a really good job of trying to maximize what is in there, thanks to, again, Steve Love and Ms. Parr. They've been able to we've really created a close working relationship so that they understand that, these stories are important. These stories are important to our community. And so we've done a good job of enhancing that. There was a news director back in Philadelphia called Steve Schwade, and his whole thing was lots of stories in that first block, lots of stories in that first block. So that's what we try to do, is maximize the story count, because we know the way people are right now. They don't want to read a big 800-word story or a 600-word story. They want some basic information, and then where can I go and get more if they want it. So that's what we're really trying to highlight. And you see on the back of Maplewood Living, you see that that list of events, and that's been really important, again, to keep our community connected, let them know we're reaching out. So again, thanks to Park and Rec and to Public Safety for hosting those events. They've given us a lot to promote. We've successfully implemented at those events a digital survey where we're able to sort of highlight from people as they're leaving, how did you find out about our survey? What community you live in? It gives us a sense of how do we market our community events, and it also gives a sense of who's coming. And we found that, most of our community, because of the way we're shaped, we are attracting people from North St. Paul, Oakdale, the city of St. Paul. So we're really becoming, or we really have been, and we can highlight now, a regional asset for this area. And then we improved the weekly FYI. Hopefully you've noticed that when you get those FYIs that come in every week. It's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. As you can see, the pictures are a lot more streamlined. Again, the content, more content, but sort of little bites as we go. So again, I want to thank City Manager Sable for helping us out with that. As everyone kind of in the city, these salaries are pre-negotiated, so we're seeing salary increases. But again, we think it's important to keep that continuity and to ensure folks are trained and have what they need to do their jobs. We're going to see increases in Maplewood Living. We know postage costs are going up, printing cost is going up, and this year, as we see the success of Maplewood Living, we're going to try to expand it to 12 pages. I'll talk more about that in a second. Not to put the broadcast folks on notice, but it's a 9 North gives us a very competitive rate, unfortunately, because of just the cost of doing business. We're going to see a 5% increase to run the booth. And then just the professional services are going to see more. And then again, we're paying folks well. We want to make sure they really have the professional development to do their jobs. I think Mike Sable had said, or City Manager Sable had said at one point, what's the difference? We're going to train these people and they leave. What happens if we don't train them and they stay? I completely butchered that saying, but that's the piece of it. And then fortunately, we've maintained about $1 million surplus from investments and other things. As we know, as time goes by, we're going to have to upgrade this room, the audio and video in this room, and we're going to have to make those. So we'll see that dwindle as well. You can see we're one of the smaller budgetary items, about a 5% across the board. Internal charges, again, 22%. Professional services, those are the folks that, doing the magazine, publishing the magazine, the booth operations, they're just cost of business going up. So what are we going to do and see with that investment? So we're going to try to broaden the scope of Maplewood Living. Because of the success of what came out of the community survey, the loss of our local paper, the fact that the Pioneer Press only covers the bad stuff or the very, 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 very little stuff, we need to get out there and communicate with our public. So we're looking at ways to expand that to 12 pages, at least 3 times a year. We're also in the process of doing a web refresh. Now, the web refresh is mostly pre-budgeted, but you're going to see with the web's going to have a new look, feel, layout. So stay tuned for that. We're trying to get together now, even though in the community survey, they didn't talk about podcasts as being rated high. We know podcasts are becoming more and more valuable as a people get their news, as a source for people to get their news. So there's some communities in our area that are starting to experiment with this, and that's what we're going to look at. We have sort of a list put together of potential topics. And one of the things we want to do with this podcast is not just us talking at the community, it's learning and hearing from the community. One of the big things that we have as a priority this year is seeing taking the voices of the people, of the entrepreneurs, of those who call Maplewood home or work in Maplewood, having them featured in Maplewood Living, in our social media posts, and then in our community podcast as well. And so you're going to see more of those resident-centered stories, and then more partners, more partnerships with key assets like St. John, like 3M, as we push forward. So those are the highlights, and I guess we'll all stand for questions.
Questions for Mr. Grube or Mr. Sharon? Mr. Sable, do you have something?
I just, a couple of things. So the quote was almost exactly right, and I'll just, and I say this often, right? We are in the people business. Our people respond and provide direct service to residents in need often, and that's what they get. And there's a risk. And oftentimes, if you make an investment in somebody's training or growth or their development, there is a risk that they will be promoted somewhere else, or they'll take their skills and they'll go to another community. And that is a real risk, and you know, you put a huge investment in somebody and they leave, there's a little element of disappointment that you wish that you had had them a little longer. But I think that there's a larger risk, and that's when you don't invest in people, and if they all choose to stay, the level of service will go down. So you will always hear me advocate for professional development and growth. Staying on the cutting edge, it requires us to be good and requires us to say, this is important and we're going to put our money towards it. And so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about risk, because I have a great deal of pride for the work that we do and that the staff does on behalf of the community. And so I never hesitate to say that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmembers. Are there any questions? No, this is our first of many. I shouldn't say it that way because we've been talking about the budget since May, but just a deep dive in terms of looking at our departments. Anything else that anyone has? Okay, then we are going to move on our agenda. There's no action that's needed there. Sorry.
Nope, gotcha.
Got it. I just don't want to cough into it. Okay, so now moving on to new business, we have the Massage Center license for Moss and Moonlight. City Clerk Sint, this is your topic tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this evening, we have, Council is being asked to consider the massage center license for Moss and Moonlight LLC, and that is at 2395 Ariel Street, Suite A. There has not been a massage center at that location. We have the owners, Jay-Z Barber and Reed Bibeau Pepper. They applied for the license in September. They listed Jay-Z as the center manager and the massage therapist. Background investigations were conducted on both, and nothing was identified to prohibit the issuance of the license. And as is practice, they have met with Lieutenant Hemke, who has gone over general expectations and rules of operating a massage center. And if they're approved tonight, they will still need to make sure we have everything working right with building and fire before we can issue the license. So at this point, we were asking Council to motion to approve the issuance of the massage center license for Moss and Moonlight LLC at 2395 Ariel Street A. Suite A. And the applicants actually are here tonight, if you would like to speak with them. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you for that. The applicants, are you here? Would you like to come up to the microphone, please, and introduce yourselves?
I'm Reed. I'm one of the owners there. I won't be doing massage. That is JC. She has lots of experience with that. I am a mental health therapist. I've been doing that for over 10 years, and I want to switch things over to work more coaching and working with parents and children. I have a 3.5-year-old, and through ECFE programs and other things, I've just fallen in love with mixing the mental health and family services and providing different community resources to families.
And I'm JC Barber. I've been a massage therapist.
Do you want to move the microphone? Because
almost 12 years now. I specialize in myofascial release, prenatal, trigger point therapy, deep tissue, and I worked for several spas throughout the years, and I've just really had a dream to have our own wellness center where we can kind of cater to the community in our own way. Yeah.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay, then there is a motion, or any questions for Ms. Sint? Then we need a motion.
I motion to approve the massage center license for Moss and Moonlight LLC, located at 2395 Ariel Street North, Suite A.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Juniman, a little quicker. The motion to approve the massage center license for Moss and Moonlight LLC. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations and welcome to Maplewood. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just had a quick comment. I looked you guys up on Facebook and found your Instagram, so you guys have some good videos on there. So it's a lot of the mind, body, and soul component you guys are bringing to Maplewood. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have the review of applications for the 2026 charitable gambling funds. Welcome, Ms. Knudsen.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. So we've been talking about this for a few months now. We met back in July, and we looked at the policy, and we kind of made some changes to the policy. So what we had decided was that of our 3 focus areas, a third of the funding would go to each area when we did the award of gambling funds. Now, this year, we did a really good job of getting the word out there about this program. And we had 33 applications with a total of requests of $226,000. And we have $60,000 to give out. So that brings us with a little bit of a dilemma. We kind of need to look at, do we want to follow what we decided back in July? Another way would be to do a proportional application, because they were not proportional at all. About 10% were in environment and natural resources. About 20, I think, or 30% were in social supports and senior citizen services. And then the rest were in youth programs and community engagement and events. So both dollar-wise and by number of applications, they were not evenly distributed at all. So one option would be to go with what we decided back in July. The second would be to do a proportional allocation where we divided that $60,000 into 3 pots based on how much was requested in each of the groups. And then the third option would be to just do an open allocation and to disregard what category they applied in, decide where you want your money to go. And then the only caveat with that would be whatever, well, that's with all 3, whatever category they apply for in this year, we are saying that next year they can apply for funds again, but it has to be in a different category. So those are your options. Do you have any comments or suggestions of how we can proceed with this?
Thank you, Ms. Knudsen. This surely was a labor of love, I think, even by the council, trying to figure this out. And what a wonderful dilemma to have. We were concerned because last year we didn't have very many applications, and absolutely everyone was funded. But we wanted to make sure that we got the word out, and we sure did. And I have to say, too, that one thing that's very nice is that, $60,000, this is the largest amount that we have had since I've been on the council.
Yeah, I think
since
the biggest in
2014.
the past was 50.
Right. So, we have even more money to distribute. And I will say, I see all of the lights on up here because we all have thoughts about this. I will lead this off by saying that I have landed on each one of these at a different time. There was, we have some really excellent applications, and this is actually a fun thing that the council gets to do, that we get to give away money and help nonprofits in our community that we can tell are doing a lot of really good work. Now, a couple of things that I just want to point out to my fellow council members, as I said, I have all three circled here because I've landed on each one. We started with our policy saying that we would provide equal allocation for the three different categories. That is pretty much, I mean, that's the lead-off for our policy. If you look at each application says that that is what we're going to do, that $60,000, each category gets 20%. One of my big concerns is that the council stated that that's how we were going to distribute the money. And if we make a change, we need to have some really good justification for it because that's what we said we were going to do. Now, we have a very interesting unintended consequence because we got $226,000 worth of requests, which I think goes to show you that we have a lot of nonprofits that learned about our charitable gambling program. 33 different requests. Excuse me. I'm just very concerned because it's part of the policy. It's the first thing, one of the first things on the application. So, you know, I really struggle with that, changing the rules midstream. If we were to change to a proportional allocation, which I would agree makes some common sense, you know, when Ms. Knutson talked about 10% environmental and natural resources and safety programs, 30% social supports and senior citizen services. The big bulk of our applications came from youth programs and community engagement and events, 60% of our applications. So, you know, a proportional allocation makes some sense, but that's not what we said we were going to do. We said that we were going to do this 20,000, 20,000, and 20,000. That is a real, that I struggle with that. Changing the rules does not seem fair. And then if I look at the third option, which is an open allocation, that one, given the fact that we had 33 applications, an open allocation at least makes a little more sense because we have 33 applications. And that way everyone would have, technically, they would have access to more of the funds. So I guess I have two thoughts. One is we keep equal allocation because that's what we said we were going to do. The other one that I could at least agree to is an open allocation because everyone then has access to the full 60,000 instead of just the 20,000 of their category. So at least we're expanding it. I don't really want to contract it and go less. Now, a couple of things that are really critical here that I think we all need to review is that the money that is eventually allocated has to be spent by the nonprofit first. And they are refunded then based on receipts. They have to show receipts for how they spend the money.
Yep, that's
And
correct.
The other, I think, element that's important for the council to recognize is, and Lois, I'm going to have you explain it about when we do vote, how does that work?
So in order for an organization to get funding, at least 3 of the council members have to decide that that organization deserves money. So you each are given your $60,000 and you decide where it's going. But then if an organization does not receive at least 3 votes, they don't get funding. But so if 3 of you said you're going to give somebody $10,000 each, that's $30,000. But we don't divide it by 3, we divide it by 5 because they got a 0 vote from the other 2. So they would get $6,000. So even if you don't vote for something, you put your money to somewhere else. So you said 0 for that one.
And the maximum is still 7,500.
Maximum is 7,500. And if you look at the list, the great majority of requests were for 7,500.
Right.
There are a few that are really odd amounts. They had a specific project in mind, so they put a very specific dollar amount.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they pretty much went for 7,500.
Yeah. So everyone has their light on, and I'm sorry, I did not. Okay, I think Councilmember Cave was first, and then Councilmember Villavicencio. And so, do you want to start?
Yeah, I think you were. You were first? She was after me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I
Who
was
was
after her.
first?
Kathy and then me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I think this is a case of be careful what you wish for.
For sure.
And we made an error in that we didn't do what we have done in the further past than the last couple of years is, would you be willing to take, or how much would you be willing to take if you didn't get the full? And
We've never asked them that specifically.
Yeah,
There
we
is a question on the application that says, would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
take less than the
Right.
amount you asked for?
Right.
And that is on there. And pretty much everyone says yes.
Right.
It says,
so
how would
that-
you spend it?
that helped.
And then they kind of prioritize
That does
what
help
they
us a
would do.
little bit
Yep.
with stretching it, shall we say.
Yes.
All I can say is option 3 is like having a nightmare of times past. Oh, my goodness. I understand where you're coming from, Mayor, on the equal allocation, because that's what we said, but I don't think we didn't know what we were saying, obviously. I guess the fairest thing to do is do open allocation, but that's a lot of homework.
I will say that I did talk with Mr. Sable and Ms. Knutson about this, that if we do go to that, which would broaden out people's opportunity to get some of that 60,000, that we would move this back until the first meeting in November, so that we have a little extra time to do this. And then Ms. Knutson has her time in order to take a look at the votes. You have to have 3 votes, and how does all of that work? So it will buy a little bit more time, but these are all nice dilemmas to have.
Yes, it's just,
But unintended consequences. So, Councilmember Juniman, I hear you saying open allocation.
seems the most fair considering what we ended up with.
Okay. And next is
Cave.
Councilmember Cave.
Hi. Hi, Lois. Thank you.
Hello.
Just wanted to say I've had a bunch of different thoughts on this. At first, I was just like, no way, there's way too many. We should do open allocation. Then, like the mayor said, this game has rules. We put them in place. And to change them at the very end before you're going to give them out, I don't want to do that. I feel like equal allocation, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know that there was going to be 3 and 1, 19 and 1, and 11. But that's just how it came. And I think this is going to teach us for next year what we can prepare and different parameters we can set. But to change the parameters right now, I just feel it wouldn't be, I don't want to say the F word, but it would, it's not fair, but you don't play game, you don't present something and have it in writing and then say, sorry, we're going to do this. I also think open allocation is going to be a nightmare because you need 3 people to say yes to one group. And when you have 33 different groups and getting us to say to 3, it's just going to keep sending it back, keep sending it back. And I can see that happening, and that's what's just going to frustrate the people too. So I am for option 1, and those are my reasons for this year, but I'm also want to advocate that we have a meeting talk about knowing this is probably going to happen again, and this is a great problem to have for next year to change the rules around.
Okay, Councilmember Villavicencio.
Well, so when I came in today, my option that I was going to share was option 3, just because I felt it was the most equitable. But hearing what you said about the decision we made beforehand and reminding us of that is very important to me as well. I think as a city, it encourages our trust with the community, so that's important to me. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I would prefer option 3, but I understand what we've already said.
Okay. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for the robust conversation. As a grant manager, I love seeing this kind of work. When we have more requests than the funding that is available, it's obvious that there's a lot of need in our community. We need more funding, so maybe next year we need more folks to do charitable gambling so we can up our budget, our pool for folks. I think it's important, and in the work that I do, we have parameters and we have criteria that we put out into our community, and folks apply based on parameters and criteria. And we put it front and center, as the mayor said, on our application and our, all of our paperwork and everything. So for this year, even though we have this dilemma that we have right now in front of us, the fairest way is people had an opportunity to apply for all of the categories, and they chose the category that they applied for. So I would be in favor of option 1, that we keep our, we keep what we put out into our community, and next year we can revisit this particular piece again about how we can change the process so more folks can maybe access it. Maybe next year we'll do an open allocation and we'll deal with the nightmare next year. But I think this year we stick with what we put out into our community.
I appreciate that. I think that was the thing that just didn't seem right. We can't change the rules. And this is a good dilemma to have. One thing, just I would make a note too, and I think that this was Mr. Sable's it's mine. I thought I turned it off. Well, we're going to just ignore it for right now. It'll stop eventually. Sorry about that. I always try to turn that off. One thing I think that we need to add for next year is I think that we need to put in what is the minimum that you could use so that we have a number for that, a minimum, and then there's a maximum as well, so that we know, because some of the times, one of the concerns that I've always had is if, someone is asking for $2,500 and they are only because of the way that these are balanced, you have to have the 3 and, then it's averaged out, and that if they only get $500, is that really going to get them something meaningful? And I want these grants to be meaningful, to really be able to fund a project and see it through. And so I think that we can talk more before this comes up again next year. But so for council members, it sounds like we've all kind of struggled with this and moved from spot to spot, but it sounds to me like we are all stuck with this idea that, that's where we're landing, is that those are the rules that we established, and we did it in good faith. I want to thank staff for doing a great job of marketing and getting this information out, which then led to this dilemma, but that's good. I'd rather have more than not enough people knowing that this money is available, because we want to get this money out into the community. We want to get it out working on these projects and helping people in our community. So it sounds to me that we could go with number 1, sticking with the equal allocation. Council members, can I get a nod of heads if we're okay with equal allocation? For this year, recognizing
We will definitely revisit this next year.
we'll revisit this.
Yeah.
Mr. Sable.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. This was actually, this is what democracy looks like. This is a robust discussion, and people's opinions changed and they shared. So I just appreciate the quality dialogue, and I also I don't have a say in the choice, so I always appreciate that when you're going to have to wrestle with this. I do want to say, the Parks Department did put in an application for $7,500 for some programming, and while the spirit behind it is correct, it feels just strange at this point because there's so many applications out there to try to jump ahead of a nonprofit group or a smaller group. So in your deliberations and your allocations, the city portion will be pulled off. So you not only have 32 to kind of look at, because I think that's just a little bit easier. But we will find a way, as we talk about the budget, if a staff member leaves early and we've budgeted for their full calendar year, we will accrue some savings and we can find $7,500 to do a community event. You just leave a vacancy open for longer than you would maybe want. But I think we can manage that sort of internally. So if there's any other questions about governmental entities or those kinds of things, we're certainly happy to entertain those.
I appreciate that. I think that is maybe for a bigger discussion for
Yes.
next year on what that looks like. But council members, we're going to get to a really great program, and we'll really get this down. But the next, it's a great problem to have. It really is. So, Ms. Knutson, the next step, if we're going to move this back so we have a little bit more time to process all of this, the next step is going to be?
I have prepared the score sheets, and I had prepared one for each example, so I have them already. I can send those right now, the email version, and I also have paper versions.
Okay, that would be great. I think if you've got copies of them,
I do.
we can take them with us tonight.
Exactly. And then I'll email the link also, and the link is a fillable form, so it'll do the math for you.
Oh,
So you
great.
know how much you have for each category.
With 32 requests, that's
Yeah.
going to be very, very
Yeah.
helpful. Okay, so we'll look forward to that, and we will then distribute these. We'll make the decisions the first meeting in November. Councilmember Cave.
So just so I'm clear too, a lot of them asked for $7,500. If I decided to do $5,000, that's fine on all of them. So we
Absolutely.
don't have to give the max
Right.
if we,
Right.
okay.
You give them however much you want to.
Yeah.
You have your total you can disperse. You decide who gets it of your total. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good discussion, council members. And we have one more agenda item, the resolution to accept the Safer Grant Award. Chief Mondor, this is your presentation. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Abrams, members of the City Council. At the March 10th, 2025 City Council meeting, staff asked you to approve a resolution of support for the fire department to apply for the fiscal year 2024 Safer Grant. We have, on September 25th, staff were notified that we have been selected to receive a fiscal year 2024 Safer Grant, which provides federal funding to strengthen local fire department staffing. The SAFER program is administered through the Federal Emergency Management Agency at FEMA. Its purpose is to ensure that fire departments across the country have the resources and personnel needed to respond to emergencies in their community. Maplewood was awarded funding to assist in the hiring of 6 new firefighters. This is a highly competitive national grant program, and our successful application represents both a major operational milestone and a recognition of the City of Maplewood's commitment to exceptional service. The grant also represents, I'll use one of the mayor's terms after we spoke after receiving the grant, the city's tenacity as we relentlessly pursued these grant opportunities for several years until we were ultimately awarded. As the council is aware, the fire department continues to experience increased call volumes and demand for services, and the city's invested in a multi-year staffing plan to address those increase in demands. The SAFER grant directly supports the city's multi-year staffing plan and helps the department enhance compliance with national standards and industry best practices as it relates to staffing response. The grant also aligns with the city's strategic pillars, exceptional service through enhancing our response reliability and capacity, a culture that supports and empowers people. This investment is a direct investment in our people, in their safety, their growth, longevity, and opportunities in the fire service. Strong relationships. This grant will reinforce regional coordination for multi-jurisdictional response and highlights internal collaboration between public safety, finance, HR, and city administration. The addition of these 6 firefighters will allow the fire department to increase staffing levels to a minimum of 3-person staffing on our fire suppression units. It will enhance response capabilities throughout the community and strengthen firefighter safety and operational effectiveness. The community benefits of this grant are substantial. Continued focus on emergency response times for both fire and EMS incidents, better and more consistent deployment citywide, especially during overlapping or simultaneous calls, and enhanced readiness and capabilities for large-scale or high-risk events. The investment reflects Maplewood's ongoing commitment to ensuring residents receive exceptional service from well-trained, well-staffed, and well-supported fire department. The total federal award is $1.6 million over 3 years. The grant covers 75% of the firefighters' salaries in years 1 and 2 of the grant, and 35% of salary during year 3. A resolution is being presented to council this evening to authorize acceptance of the award. If approved, staff will work with FEMA to accept the grant, and upon acceptance, we will begin recruitment and onboarding of the 6 new firefighters. We will then integrate these positions in the department's operational schedule to fully operationalize the plan. This SAFER grant represents more than federal funding. It's an investment in the people, some of which you see behind me, who protect this community every day. It allows us to better serve our residents, safeguard our firefighters, and continue to build a department that reflects our organizational values and vision for the future. And on behalf of the entire Fire and EMS department, I want to thank City Council, City Administration, and staff for your continued support in moving this milestone forward. Thank you. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chief. I have to say that I think tenacity is your middle name. You have come to us, and I think it's 4 years. Is this the 4th year?
Yeah, we have a total. Yes.
When we were rejected each one of those years, I thought to myself, maybe not this year, but next year. Maybe not this year, but next year. And you, as the fire chief, had the tenacity to keep on applying because you knew what this could do for our community and the help that it would give to all of our staff, to our community. And so, council members, I think we need a round of applause for the chief. You didn't give up, and we are so proud of that. We have, I think it's 8 firefighter EMS folks here. I think it's 8. Thank you all. I'm sure it wasn't just the chief. He'll be the first one to say it took many people and I'm sure for the federal application, it was not just a couple of pages. I think I saw one of those one of the years, and it's a pretty extensive application, but you stuck it out, and it really paid off. This is one of those examples about goodness comes to those who wait, and this is a classic example of it. So we'll be nicknaming you Tenacity now, which is a wonderful attribute, and for a person in your role, thank you very much. This means an awful lot to our community. So I am so proud of this. Council members, we need to make a motion to accept this grant.
I move to approve the resolution accepting the fiscal year 2024 Federal Emergency Management Agency staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, better known as SAFER, grant.
Second. Nick.
Yeah, it's a unanimous second.
Yes.
I know we can't say that. Okay, so motion by Judeman, first, second by Cave. Third, yeah. Councilmember Villavicencio was next, and I'm sure you were just waiting.
Second.
Yeah, so there we go. We've all seconded it, so thank you. Is there any further discussion other than great thanks for Chief Mondor and his department and what they've done for our community? And that's a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate that. Seeing no further discussion, then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you go, Chief.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Job well done. All right, that's the last thing on the agenda.
We're not going to get a photo with all these guys? They all want pictures taken.
I think we should. You know
Yeah.
what? Let's do that. All the fire EMS, come on up here. We're going to take a picture with the council. But first I'm going to adjourn. And now we're going to do a picture. You can't leave until you get in the picture.